Latitude Media, podcast at the frontier of climate technology.
Hey, it's Steven, and this week we've got something a little different for you.
I'm going to drink Shale's tears.
Coming out swinging over here.
That was venture investor Matt Eggers taking a swipe at ShaleCon. Many of you will know Shale as the host of our companion podcast, Catalyst. And last week I had the pleasure of taking the stage with four investors, Matt and Shale, and also Cassie Bowe and Carly Anderson, at the Prelude Climate Summit. Armed with a bell, a buzzer, and four different categories of questions, we tested how up-to-date they are on the most recent industry news and how good they were at trash talk.
It's no pressure at all, but people are going to be thinking of what you say today 18 years later.
True.
It's not,
okay.
but it's no pressure at all.
So I hope you'll fire up your news feed, play along, and see if you can beat some of the top climate tech venture capitalists at a game we're calling Emissions Impossible.
America's green banks are preparing to unleash a wave of capital for clean energy. The Greenhouse Gas Reduction Fund invests a historic $27 billion in projects nationwide. This could mobilize up to $150 billion of private capital for solar, storage, efficiency, and electrification in underserved communities. So how do we deploy those billions quickly, efficiently, and with the highest impact? On July 18th, Latitude Media and Banyan Infrastructure will host a virtual event exploring the on-the-ground realities of making America's green banks a success. Register for free by clicking the link in the show notes or go to latitudemedia.com/events.
Clean energy and climate tech are policy-driven industries, and anyone working in this field touches local, state, and federal policy in a very real way. And that's why you should be listening to Political Climate, a podcast from Latitude Media and Boundary Stone Partners that delivers an insider's view on climate policy and politics. Every other week, co-hosts Julia Piper, Emily Domenech, and Brandon Hurlbuck cover the nuances of government funding, regulations, backroom negotiations, and the election, of course. Political Climate is a show for people who want authentic conversations and strong opinions from voices across the political spectrum. Listen at latitudemedia.com or subscribe to the show anywhere you get your podcasts. Are we recording back there? Are we good? Okay, excellent. Live from the Prelude Climate Summit in Napa, California, this is Emissions Impossible, a news quiz from Latitude Media. Let's meet our contestants up here on the stage. So, first up next to me is Shale Khan. He's a managing partner at Energy Impact Partners and host of Catalyst with Shale Khan. Shale is very well known to the folks in this room and to our listening audience. He has a very popular show on climate tech, but here's a fun fact that many of you may not know. He was once a child circus performer. How have your juggling skills translated to being a podcaster and investor?
You can't really see juggling on a podcast, so I don't do it as much anymore. I wasn't really a circus performer specifically, so much as a child professional juggler.
And on Shale's team is Cassie Bowe. She's a partner at Energy Impact Partners. Cassie came up in the solar industry before becoming an investor, and she was also on the Forbes 30 Under 30 list. Cassie, does that honor give you any lifetime benefits?
Well, I'm no longer under 30, spoiler alert.
At least a subscription to Forbes?
It's just an embarrassment on panels.
I'm sorry I brought it up.
We'll give you another one of those.
So Shale and Cassie have formed a team. What is the name of your team?
We are Team High Voltage.
Okay. All right, Team High Voltage. I love it. All right. Next up is Matt Eggers. He's a managing director at Prelude Ventures. Before becoming an investor, Matt worked in biotech and then was an early employee at Sunrun. So Matt, how did your parents feel about you moving from the lucrative world of biotech and drug development into a cute little solar rooftop company?
They didn't think it was a good idea.
How do they feel now?
Still not sure it was a good idea.
And his teammate is Dr. Carly Anderson, a principal at Prelude Ventures. Carly is a chemical engineer and the only one up here with a doctorate. You have developed new materials for energy applications, and you hold multiple patents, or according to you, 1.5 patents. Do you put that on your business card?
It wouldn't fit. I'll share the title later. It's super sexy.
What is the patent?
Something about quaternary amines for steam generator cleaning, I believe. It's a long title.
And what is the name of your team?
The name of our team is Shale Gas.
Oh.
Shots fired.
That hurts. That hurts.
Okay.
They're just Matt Eggersing us on.
Okay.
Good.
Okay.
All right, so here's how this is going to work. We have 4 different games about a wide variety of topics on energy and climate tech in the news. Many of them have been covered by our team at Latitude Media, although these are not all stories from Latitude. So this is actually going to help me determine who up here is actually reading our site. We're going to keep score right here, and the members of the winning team will get a hand-painted cup from Nicole Kellner, who is a well-known climate artist. All right, let's get into it. The first game is called Grid Grid, Don't Fail Me. Suddenly, the biggest story in the power sector is the rising wave of demand around the country. A trifecta of forces, electrification, new industrial activity, and data centers for AI is forcing utilities to drastically revise how much power capacity they need to build in the next few years. We've been talking about this moment for a while, and it's finally here. And crypto miners everywhere are breathing a sigh of relief that they can continue to make useless products without so much attention on their energy waste. I'm going to present each team with 3 different quotes about this trend, and if they guess correctly, you get a point. They'll also get a chance to answer a bonus question to double up their points. So if they get it wrong, the opposing team can answer the bonus. Are you ready? High voltage, over to you. First quote. It is game over for the Biden administration's 2035 decarbonization goal. That was former developer and power systems expert Tyler Norris speaking to the New York Times about what trend that is playing out among Southeast utilities.
We're going to say the utilities building new fossil assets to meet growing load.
That is correct. That is gas expansion to meet a doubling of new power demand. And here is your bonus question. How much fossil gas capacity are Duke Energy, Georgia Power, and Tennessee Valley Authority collectively proposing over the next couple of years?
Next 2 years?
Yeah.
Okay, why don't we go with like
7
7?
gigawatts.
11 gigawatts.
Come on.
That's what
So
we
you got 1 point there. All right. This has sparked really real concerns about a dash to gas, and some people believe that a lot of utilities are using this as a bit of panic to build stuff that they love, notably gas plants. Do you think that this is, as Tyler Norris said, game over for decarbonization goals if this much gas is being built to meet new demand?
No, it's too early, right? Like, this is all happening in such real time. Georgia Power is a good example of this. They're on a 3-year IRP cycle. They had to amend their IRP a year after they filed it to account for all this new load growth. Like, we don't know what's going to get built yet from all of it. We don't know what the next one is going to look like. I just think it's too early to call it.
Yeah, and I think it just goes to show decarbonization doesn't happen in a vacuum. To hit 2035 goals, a lot of other things are going to happen in the meantime, like load growth. And so it's not to say we won't hit 2035 goals. It's just going to be a multifaceted problem for them to solve.
Okay, shale gas, you're up.
All right.
We still don't appreciate the energy needs of this technology. There's no way to get there without a breakthrough. We need fusion, or we need radically cheaper solar plus storage, or something at massive scale. That was a warning from which AI luminary at Davos in January?
We're talking about fusion. Sam Altman comes to mind. You got anything, Matt?
Go for it.
I'm going to go with Sam Altman.
Correct. According to a leaked document from Business Insider, Microsoft is expanding data center capacity dramatically. It has 5 gigawatts under management, and it's planning 2.5 gigawatts of expansion in the next 12 months. Bonus question for you, Shale Gas. What energy companies has Sam Altman invested in?
We could do this out loud.
Yeah.
All right. Matt, you named one.
Yeah, Oklo?
And I named another, which is Helion. I believe there's probably things outside the nuclear space.
There's a very recent investment.
Give them clues? Come on. It's already their home turf.
Okay, time's up. It is the solar heat company Exawatt. All right, so
Do we get 2/3 of a point?
it is 1-1. That was a very good effort, but no. Well, what do you make of, as a follow-up question here, what do you make of Altman's take on the need for like big tech breakthroughs versus more conventional grid upgrades to solve this problem and unlock new capacity?
Yeah, I mean, all of the above. From our investment strategy, we're trying to do both of those sorts of things: big tech breakthroughs, fusion,
Yeah.
geothermal.
I love the thinking very far ahead. I also think, to what you were all saying, like plans are nothing, but planning is everything. And there needs to be a near-term and a long-term thought in both of those camps.
High voltage, over to you. Quote, "It's the biggest wild card you have in the project development cycle." That is what the CEO of one wind and solar developer said in April about a problematic trend in the US. What is he referring to?
Gotta be interconnection.
Gotta be interconnection queues.
Correct. Very good. All right, bonus question. According to the Lawrence Berkeley National Lab, there are 12,000 wind, solar, and battery projects sitting in the US interconnection queue. Another capacity question. How much capacity does that represent?
12,000 projects?
It's
Yep.
like it's like
So that's-
it's like 2.5 terawatts, I think. I've seen this chart.
I think it has to average, 100 megawatts per project?
Or bigger.
I refuse to do mental math. I think it's reckless, but maybe Shale could do it.
I think it's in the realm of 2.5 terawatts. That number sticks out in my head for some reason.
I like that.
I'm going to give it to you. 2.6 terawatts, double US power capacity. 2 points. I realize also I did not give you the opportunities to do follow-ups on the bonus questions, so I apologize for that, but we'll keep that rolling. If the team gets the bonus question wrong, the other team will be able to answer it going forward. All right, so what do y'all think? Like, what's the biggest threat to, the fact that utilities are not getting creative with like how to meet rising demand with clean resources, or the inability to get these resources on the grid in this queue?
I'd probably go inability to get them on the grid. I think utilities have been remarkable at the ability to integrate clean resources. I think, we just got to be able to get more online, and there are some fundamental constraints to that within our existing grid.
I totally agree. And I think you have cascading problems here, right? You've got the problem of the queues themselves and the amount of time that it takes to get through the queue and the planning process that goes behind getting through the queue and these like restudies that have to take place. And there's ways to redesign the interconnection process that can make that better. Then there's a physical constraint of delivery on the grid, and the fact that we just haven't been building the amount of transmission that you would need to deliver that power anyway. And so there's a combination of structural, regulatory, and physical problems that all compress themselves into this crazy situation to get us to 2.6 terawatts in the queue.
Yeah, I'm having this morning. I thought it was fascinating that there's this feeling that a ton of this is going to be gas, right? And we need to build it in the next 3, 4, 5, 6 years. But in Nat Bullard's slides this morning, even the portion of that 2.6 terawatts that's gas that's currently in the system was very, very small. So that's going to have to change or go much faster, or we're just not going to meet that load growth.
Well, the extreme regionality of the challenge is also really interesting. In some places, it's very easy to get things sited and permitted. In some places, it's very difficult. The things that are adding load to the grid vary so much across different ISOs. Getting things on the grid versus the utility. In some cases, the utility is the problem. In other places, it's very, very clearly, the challenge isn't actually connecting something.
Carly and Matt, over to you. It will be a massive, massive miss if we don't work together to break these barriers down today. We need fast action to pursue a proactive investment strategy in available technologies that are here right now that you can deploy today. That was Vanessa Chan, Chief Commercial Officer at the Department of Energy, speaking about what set of solutions.
It's wind and solar. I think we go wind and solar.
Not transmission.
No.
You sure? All right, let's do it.
Wind and solar.
No.
Wrong. It is.
Wait,
no,
you get to steal?
You get this. Sure, we're not going to give you a point. You get to steal bonus question.
That's okay. We don't need to steal.
What is the answer?
I think it's grid enhancing technologies.
Correct. Okay, bonus question. Over to you, Shale Gast. How much grid capacity could reconductoring, dynamic line rating, and topology optimization unlock according to DOE?
Can we give it as a percentage?
No, capacity, no.
I haven't read an article on this. I actually saw it in a list. I think, Stephen, you have one on your website, so I'm feeling very silly right now. 30 gigawatts. What do you think? Over, under?
I'd go over.
You go over. All right.
Yeah.
What do you think? We're thinking Georgia Power, that's 6.6 gigawatts right there, right? And between now and 2030.
But that's not
not forever.
Reconductoring topology improvements and those sorts of
true.
things, right? It's how much capacity that grid infrastructure or grid improvements would give us.
Yes.
50?
Let's go 50.
Okay.
Well, you are in luck because it is a very wide range. It is 20 to 100 gigawatts, so you are right in the middle. Okay, over to Shale and Cassie. Well, actually, let's just follow up on Getz for a second. This is a solution that is overlooked by a lot of utilities because, they want to build out big infrastructure and earn a higher rate of return. Where do y'all see Getz playing into meeting this new demand? Any thought on this particular set of technologies?
Bullish, right? I mean, I think there's it's always difficult to get new technologies adopted in transmission and distribution in particular, even within a broadly slow-moving sector like electricity. But clearly there's a need now that is pressing and acute, and every utility that we have talked to is looking at all those options. None of them are the slam dunk that the news makes you think they are. There's challenges with all of them. Like dynamic line ratings are awesome, but they carry their own challenges. So, I think we're going to see a bunch of this stuff getting adopted, reconductoring and dynamic line ratings in particular, but it is important to be realistic about the pace of adoption of basically anything in transmission, especially. It's measured in years or decades. It's not faster than that.
Didn't either FERC or the administration just say they are trying to avoid any new permit required to do reconductoring?
Yeah, you don't need to go through a full NEPA review anymore. You used to do a full NEPA review for any reconductoring over 20 miles, I believe, and now it is any reconductoring of any length.
Right.
So that should speed up the process for sure.
Right.
All right. So, high voltage. This quote comes from Microsoft's Hannah Green, speaking at our Transition AI conference last fall. It's an unlock. If their kids are showing them on their phones, it's an aha moment. That's her talking about a technology that many utility executives are trying to figure out, sometimes from their kids at home.
Social media?
No, it's got to be like ChatGPT, LLMs.
Oh, I see.
This was a year ago. When was this?
Sorry, can you say the quote again?
Yeah, last fall.
Last fall. It's got to be LLMs.
Yeah.
Right.
Social media has been around for
What
a little
unlock
while.
is TikTok?
It says from someone who doesn't have TikTok.
I assume it's. Yeah. I feel very unlocked, and I don't have any TikTok. I think it's LLMs.
I agree.
Okay, we say LLMs.
Yes, correct.
What is a softball question?
20 to 100
I think they lose a point for
gigawatts,
having to talk about that one.
somewhere between
Audience?
one and grid.
All right, quiet down, shale gas. You'll get a good one next. Okay, bonus question. Our research team, Latitude Intelligence, just released a report on AI in the power sector. Name 3 current use cases for utilities in practice today.
3 current use cases of AI in the power sector
Yeah,
today.
I'm going to be pretty flexible in your answer here. There's lots of different ways to answer it. So,
Could be everything for utilities.
yep,
yeah, just-
specifically utility deployments.
Okay, I would say, siting and permitting in general. It's very broad.
That's one good one. Sure. Load forecasting,
Load forecasting.
I think, is a good one.
Yeah. Dispatching of assets.
Like trading optimization, you could say
Yeah.
more broadly.
Yeah,
We'll go
I'm
with
going to
those.
give it to you. Those are all, yeah, good. I'm going to give shale gas a chance to add some more. If you want to add a few more, I'll give you a bonus point.
Yeah, we didn't hear what they said, but we came up with
Okay,
We're too busy scheming over here.
capacity planning,
That's
grid topology, mapping.
Yeah. Well, I've seen a lot of cool applications for, honestly, plugging into LLMs, apps for helping maintenance requests go in more smoothly,
Yes.
ordering replacement parts, all kinds of just operational streamlining products coming out, which is pretty
That's
interesting.
a good one.
Maybe
Customer service
dynamic
stuff.
line rating.
Yeah.
Yep.
All the
Indeed.
customers facing things.
Yep. Regulatory filings, document management, that
Utility
kind of
quiz shows.
smart meters, grid virtualization. There's a ton. What do you all think about AI as an investment category? I know you're all kind of evaluating it. Do you see it as a sole investment category or just an extension of what companies are already doing that you're evaluating and working with?
I think we see it in a number of ways, but not in its own category largely. So we see our existing companies leveraging it to make their businesses more efficient. We see new companies who it's a fundamental of their product. And then, we obviously see huge implications to the grid for the build out of power to service it. So I don't see it being in a market map in a column for ourselves, for our EIP portfolio.
Couldn't agree more. I think it's a research unlock. It's a productivity add-on. You could also do some very interesting things when you take it to the infrastructure level. That's something we're thinking about a lot. And I think everyone in this room has heard a lot about load growth and how much of that could come from basically the infrastructure running AI. So agree, all over the place.
Yeah, I would say I agree with that. And I don't think it would ever be a column or a category of look at our 20 AI investments. But I'd be surprised if we and EIP and others like us don't have in 2 or 3 years at least a couple of companies who have an AI copilot or something where AI is the core offering of what they're doing.
Yeah. Well, I would looking around the room, we've got many of our portfolio companies here who use AI or have built products based on AI, and I know you guys are in the same boat.
All right, this is the last question. Over to you, Carly and Matt. Calm the heck down. That's what one expert told Latitude Media after an International Energy Agency report was released showing what?
I believe I saw something related to load growth and data centers, but that could just be the vibe that I'm feeling this week.
Yeah. Let's go AI load growth, something like that, or data center load growth.
Let's do that.
Correct. Specifically, that global data center energy use will double in 2 years. Bonus question. Can you name an example of a data center design for flexibility, for grid flexibility?
What do you mean by design?
An application that allows you to flex compute or interact with the grid.
Someone pitched me last week on integrating carbon capture and data centers with the airflow. I don't know if that counts. Matt?
Yeah. Dare we say crypto mining?
Do y'all want to take a stab at it?
First of all, not to credit my opponent, but crypto mining is a good answer, actually.
That is actually,
yeah,
yes.
Turning it off.
Yeah, no,
Sorry,
seriously.
I just didn't have it on my list.
Those crypto mines have been the
what?
most flexible data center assets that we have seen, for better or for worse. A bunch of them are participating in demand response and ERCOT today. Don't give them the point anyway. But I think
Give us the point.
Answer. There's also the Sidewalk Infrastructure Partners just rolled out. Is this what you're referring
right.
to?
Yes.
Yeah, they just rolled out a new platform called Inveris.
Yes,
I think
correct.
It is. Designing data centers that are basically trying to co-locate both training and inference, but be able to separate the two from each other because one can be more flexible than the other. And so they're trying to figure out how to optimize within a given data center so that as a whole, the load looks more flexible.
That is correct. Yep, I had that on my list. Also, Soluna's batchable computing using excess renewables and Google's carbon-aware computing specifically for demand response, which they have dispatched in Europe and in the Midwest.
It must be hard for you guys not to have Shell Khan on your team.
On July 18th, join Latitude Media and Banyan Infrastructure as we take a deep dive into the next phase of deploying the $27 billion Greenhouse Gas Reduction Fund. We'll provide practical insights for the state agencies and local lenders at the front lines of dispensing these funds. Where are the bottlenecks? How do we balance speed with transparency? And can America's green banks live up to the expectations of both local communities and Wall Street? Latitude Media's Stephen Lacey, Banyan co-founder Amanda Lee, and Clean Energy Fund of Texas EVP Billy Briscoe will answer these questions and more on July 18th at 1 p.m. Eastern. This is a must-attend for project developers and financiers. Register for free at latitudemedia.com/events or click the link in the show notes.
I'm Julia Piper.
I'm Brandon Hurlbut.
And I'm Emily Domenech. A little over a year ago, Political Climate took a break so we could focus on the groundwork of implementing America's biggest ever climate bill. the Inflation Reduction Act. I'm excited to say Political Climate is back. And I'll be joined by my two co-hosts to riff on the top political stories and insider scoops, from state houses to the halls of Congress to regulatory agencies and even international climate talks. We'll explain how those developments are driving industry decisions today.
Political Climate is a show for people who want authentic conversations.
And to learn about how energy and climate policy is shaped within both political parties, from the people who have actually helped shape it.
So join me, Brandon, and Emily every other week, starting in April, for fresh episodes of Political Climate. Subscribe to the show wherever you listen to podcasts.
Okay, this next game is called Bluff the Investor. Members of our Latitude Media team have presented 2 fake stories and 1 real one, and each team will have to guess the real story. So, Shilgast, you are up. This is story number 1. I'm going to play you 3 different stories, and you have to guess the real story.
In early April, residents of San Francisco's Mission District experienced what can only be described as a bizarre auditory phenomenon. Around midnight, as electric vehicles across the area simultaneously began their scheduled overnight charging, the city's aging electric grid responded in an unexpected way. It started to hum, quite literally. The strange occurrence, dubbed the Midnight Melody, lasted approximately 7 minutes and varied in pitch along with fluctuations in electrical load. This peculiar event seems to have been caused by a perfect storm of high EV charging demand and specific atmospheric conditions, which amplified the electrical transmission sounds to audible levels. It was surreal. It started as a low drone and then turned into what sounded like an orchestra tuning up, said Mariah Gomez, a local resident. At first, I thought it was coming from someone's sound system, but then I realized it was all around us, like the air itself was vibrating. Engineers at Pacific Gas and Electric, PG&E, the city's utility provider, are scratching their heads over the incident.
That was read by our staff reporter, Maeve Alsup. Here is story number 2, read by Catalyst producer Daniel Waldorf.
While exploring potential lithium deposits near Reno, Nevada, Dr. Elena Ramirez, a seasoned geologist, made an astonishing discovery that seems straight out of a pirate legend: a cache of centuries-old pirate treasure buried deep underground. During routine subsurface scans for lithium, a mineral that is crucial for battery technology, Dr. Ramirez noticed anomalies in the magnetic readings that hinted at the presence of metal buried at unusual depths. Suspecting an equipment error at first, further excavation revealed a buried wooden chest encrusted with rusted iron and filled with gold coins, jewelry, and gem-encrusted goblets. "I was looking for lithium, but I found gold," Dr. Ramirez joked. "It's not every day that you uncover a pirate chest in the middle of the desert." We were stunned. How it got there hundreds of miles from any ancient trade routes or known pirate activity. It's a mystery we're eager to solve.
Actually, that sounds more plausible to me than being able to hear anything in the Mission at midnight. Like,
Nice.
Okay, and here's...
It was actually just a car alarm, I think, in the Mission going off, like 24 of them at a time.
And story number 3, read by our senior editor, Ann Bailey.
In April, Patty Gonia had an epic day of meetings with White House officials and members of Congress, and she did it all in platform heels. "I stomped around in these 6-inch heels all through the bowels of our government," the climate drag queen and queer activist said Tuesday during an interview at Earth Justice's office in downtown Washington. She was dressed as a tree with branches and leaves shooting out of her arms, sparkling green fingernails, and a pair of knee-high arboreal platform boots. She was in town urging Biden administration officials and members of Congress to protect old-growth forests. Patty Gonia highlighted the need for scientifically backed forest management practices such as prescribed burns, a method long advocated by indigenous groups and ecological scientists. Addressing former President Donald Trump's famously misguided suggestion on forest management, Patty Gonia remarked, "We don't need to sweep the floors. Trump can come over and sweep my heels if he wants to."
Okay. Is it story 1, a strange hum creating an EV midnight melody for PG&E? Story 2, a geologist's rare desert pirate treasure find? Or story 3, a drag activist promoting conservation on Capitol Hill?
Having lived in the Mission District for 10 years, I think these all sound like true stories about the Mission District. But
there's one true story,
one
correct?
true story, yeah.
There's one true story. You have to guess the true one.
Yeah. We're going with Patty Gonia.
Correct.
Mission strikes.
Lobbyists, take note. That is how you get your message to lawmakers. Okay. Now, over to high voltage. The first story, again, comes from producer Daniel Waldorf.
Congress is facing a daunting to-do list that includes fund the repair of the Key Bridge in Baltimore, decide what to do with a child tax credit expansion, reauthorize the Federal Aviation Administration, and finish work on a rail safety bill. But it's against this backdrop that the GOP-led House Rules Committee unveiled its schedule for upcoming legislation in mid-April. The schedule included markup of 6 bills: the Stop Unaffordable Dishwasher Standards Act, the Liberty in Laundry Act, the Affordable Air Conditioning Act, the Clothes Dryer Reliability Act, the Hands Off Our Home Appliances Act, and the Refrigerator Freedom Act. Republican House lawmakers were planning an appliance week to champion the bills. But just like Infrastructure Week under the Trump administration, it was delayed. In response, Representative Don Beyer of Virginia wrote via social media in reference to the list of bills, quote, "This is real. This is actually what Republicans are preparing to spend next week on in the House. Really." End quote. No word yet on when Appliance Week will be rescheduled.
Okay, here's our second story, read by Maeve Alsop.
During a seemingly ordinary review of regulatory filings at the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, Sarah Jennings, a sharp-eyed staffer, stumbled upon something extraordinary. While scrutinizing proposals for a new power plant in rural Montana, Jennings discovered blueprints that revealed a long-forgotten Cold War missile silo repurposed as a clandestine bowling alley. The blueprints, initially submitted as part of a standard site assessment for energy development, detailed not only the missile silo's military specifications, but also modifications that transformed it into a 10-pin bowling venue during the 1960s. "I had to double-check to make sure I wasn't seeing things," Jennings remarked. "You expect to find underground cables in these filings, not underground bowling lanes." Historians were equally astonished by Jennings's find. The missile silo, constructed in the 1950s as part of America's strategic defenses, was covertly converted into a recreational facility where military personnel could unwind. For Jennings, what started as a routine document review has rolled into an unexpected historical adventure, proving that even energy regulatory work can strike historical gold.
Okay, and here is our final story from Ann Bailey.
A posse of conservative leaders, from ranch owners to country music icons, have saddled up as geothermal gauchos to champion President Joe Biden's push for geothermal energy. Sporting cowboy hats equipped with miniature geothermal models, the spirited group announced their support in a ranch-style gala, advocating for tapping into the Earth's natural heat as a clean energy solution. "Partner, it's time we drill down. Not just for oil, but for the heat beneath our boots," announced Hank Hot Rock Cassidy, a legendary rodeo star turned renewable energy enthusiast and spokesperson for the Gauchos. The Gauchos demonstrated their commitment with a symbolic drill dance, a choreographed routine that mimics the drilling process, intended to dig deeper into public awareness about geothermal power. They promised more awareness events, aiming to keep the geothermal dialogue as lively and enduring as a campfire sing-along.
Okay, is it story number 1, the GOP's push for liberty in laundry? Story number 2, a FERC staffer's discovery of an underground Cold War-era bowling alley? Or story 3, a unique geothermal advocacy group called the Geothermal Gauchos?
I love the geothermal gauchos.
Yeah, we got it.
idea. Also, I want to commend Ann Bailey on her impression of a geothermal gaucho, but it's number 1.
Yeah. Even though it did sound like Sarah Jennings in number 2 really did her research.
Yes,
on that bowling alley. We're going to go with 1.
Correct. Correct.
Anybody in the audience want to do a geothermal dance?
It's called the drill.
Let's see it.
The drill down.
You
I
get
think
a mug.
the folks at Quays are going to do that tonight at the party. So
You got to get really deep in that one.
yes, exactly. Okay.
Sorry, Carlos.
Wah, wah.
This next game is called Not My Green Job. We're going to present clues about different jobs in energy, climate tech, and sustainability. Each team gets 3 jobs to guess. If one can't guess the job in 3 clues, then the other team can steal. Number 1, High voltage. Some of the challenges this job has to deal with include bees' nests, frogs, copper thieves, and vandals armed with ground meat. This profession is currently responsible. Do you want to try a guess, or do you want me to keep going?
Well, not at all.
This profession is currently responsible for over 192,000 machines in the U.S. NREL estimates we'll need 28 million more by 2030.
I was going to go with EV charger maintenance, but then the ground meat really...
No, I think you're right that it's EV. I don't understand the ground meat bit, but
Okay, let's think it through. Why would you have ground meat near an EV charger? Dog charging at the charger. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
But 190,000.
Let me give you the final
versus
clue.
like 28 million needed.
Yeah, we
That's like
need-
clearly got to be.
This job works on machines that are notoriously finicky. A 2023 survey of users found that over 20% have run into problems trying to get them to work.
All right, EV chargers for sure.
EV charger technician.
Correct.
Can you explain the meat thing?
In Germany, vandals went around sticking ground chicken or ground pork into the charging ports.
In Germany.
Yes.
Why?
I don't know. It is still a mystery to this day.
What about the frogs?
Probably just gets in.
You deal with frogs. You don't deal with frogs?
Yeah, frogs, chargers.
This is in Marin, I feel like all the time. Probably.
All right, shale gas. By 2030, the U.S. will face a labor gap of 130,000 full-time employees in this profession. Roughly 27% of the existing workforce in the U.S. will be retiring by 2029, and there aren't enough people to take their places.
Can you keep going?
This job is essential to the supply chains for transmission lines, lithium-ion batteries, wind turbines, and carbon dioxide removal. A day in the life of this job involves things like sampling, permitting, and a lot of walking. Newcomers to this rather active profession would be wise to bring sun protection, bug spray, or blister pads for their boots.
So now we're thinking geologist or surveyor.
Surveyor, I like that.
Yeah, I forgot the first part.
What was the number? 130,000?
140? It's a lot.
Yes, 130,000.
I like the surveyor answer, although it seems a little overly specific, but
It's a lot. That would be
All
a
right.
lot of surveyors.
walking.
Okay, time to make your guess.
Yes,
Surveyors.
You had it right. It was geologists. Oh, I forgot. You were allowed to steal. Sorry.
Geologists.
Okay. The geologist shortage is a major problem for all kinds of climate tech that rely on mining, of course. Batteries, need critical minerals, and transmission needs a lot of copper. Wind turbines need rare earth elements. And the IEA estimates that hitting net zero globally will require 6 times more critical minerals that are in use today. And we have a massive upcoming shortage of geologists. Mystery job number 3, high voltage. Some of the tools of this job are 3D modeling, heat and material balance, process flow diagrams, and piping and instrumentation diagrams. In this job, you could theoretically work from anywhere in the world, but few locations you're more likely to work are Texas, Iceland, and Zurich.
Geothermal. Something.
It's a drilling engineer, probably. Say it. Okay.
Well, but...
Or is there more?
You're likely to work alongside professionals from a variety of specialized fields like chemical engineering, material science, and electrical engineers. And you'll have to work with technologies like novel sorbents, advanced membranes, and specialized catalysts.
It's like a carbon capture engineer or something?
In Iceland? They don't have any carbon.
They have geothermal and they have direct air capture. They do.
Yeah.
In Iceland. And in Texas is all the point source capture. I think it's like something like a carbon capture engineer. I don't know that that's actually a job. All right.
An engineer at a DAC facility.
Oh, a DAC. Okay.
I could see Carly really wanted to answer that one.
Getting really excited.
I saw Carly getting animated, so I knew what it was, kind of.
Okay. Shale gas. This profession installed 3.6 million devices in the US last year, but it has millions more to go. The EU estimates that it needs 500,000 of these skilled workers to hit installation targets by 2030. And in this job, you might need to work alongside plumbers, pipe fitters, and electricians.
3.6.
Wait, this is not for us.
Oh, sorry. I thought it was a bonus.
Is that it or more?
That's it. Yes, those are the 3.
Well, I'd say heat pump installer is encompassed by HVAC.
We can stop whispering, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know how we keep whispering.
We're between heat pump installer or HVAC technician. And Matt, I'm going to let you Pull the trigger.
Let's go broad. HVAC. HVAC.
Correct. We are lumping both heat pump installers and HVAC contractors together in this, so you were double right. Nice work.
Double right, but 1 point.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
1 point. For the
Just to be
second year in a
clear.
row, heat pumps outsold gas furnaces in the U.S. in 2023 by a significant margin of 21%. But the U.S. still needs to roughly triple its rate of installation in the next few years to reach all 140 million households by 2050, according to Rewiring America. And of course, one of the biggest barriers is finding those contractors. High voltage. In this job, you're running among an exceedingly rare group of people who review designs and proposals for novel technologies. You worry a lot about safety. Some have even said too much.
The National Regulatory Commission.
Oh my gosh.
Whoa. The National Regulatory Commission?
The U.S. Nuclear Regulatory Commission.
He said national.
No, I'm not. He did not.
It's okay. I was going to give it to him. Are we going to give it to him or not?
No.
All right.
That hurts.
You guys are rough.
I don't know any national regulatory.
I'm sorry.
Our answer is we get to steal, right?
Yes.
The all together now, Nuclear Regulatory Commission.
There you go. You got a point.
So bad.
All right. This is the last job here. Okay, Matt and Carly. This profession's been around for a while, but it had its big break in November of 2022. In this job, you're likely to work alongside researchers, data scientists, software engineers, robotics engineers, and user experience designers. This profession requires expertise in math. In climate, it's a job that ends up dealing with problems like wildfire management, optimizing transmission, and satellite imagery.
AI engineer? What do you think?
Correct.
Yep.
All right. This is our final game. It's lightning fill in the blank. It's time for you to complete the sentence. I'm going to give you 5 stories or trends, and you're going to complete them as quickly as you can. Matt and Carly, over to you. In March, Georgia Power reached a preliminary agreement with state regulators to approve 1,400 megawatts of what?
Nuclear.
Nuclear.
Fossil gas capacity.
Ooh.
What company filed comments disagreeing with Georgia Power's approach to procuring fossil generation for data centers and saying the utility was not being transparent in how it evaluated renewables?
Hyperscaler. Pick a hyperscaler.
Yeah. Microsoft.
Correct. Last month, the federal government announced the recipients of $7 billion for over 900,000 low-income homes to get what?
Energy efficiency, solar, batteries, and
Good try, Matt.
It is rooftop solar.
Rooftop solar. Right.
Climeworks recently began offering what to the corporate purchasers of carbon removal that are tired of dealing with multiple different carbon removal sellers?
Portfolio.
a portfolio.
Bundle of credits.
I'll give you that. Yeah,
Multiple
carbon removal packages, PPAs for carbon.
Great.
Are we giving it to them? What do you think?
Yeah.
All right.
Generous when they don't get it.
Yeah. They're rooting against you out there.
A
All right,
national
final question.
package of.
A recent CBS YouGov poll found that 45% of Americans said climate change is a very important issue. But what percentage of that group had heard nothing or not much about what the Biden administration had done to address climate change?
I want to say like 5, but I don't think that's the answer.
I bet it's like half.
50%.
It's 49%. I'm going to give it to you.
Nice.
That's alarming. I wanted to ask John Podesta about that today. I mean, this administration has a lot of work to do to continue talking about these successes that are fairly obvious to the people in this room. Okay. The Department of Energy issued a new rule aimed to cut down the time it takes to what?
This is for us now?
Yep.
Get interconnected. Get interconnected to the grid. Oh, I'm sorry. Wait. No. It's not. It's build new trends.
Permitted transmission line.
It's reconductoring.
Down from an average of 4 years down to 2 years.
Enable further interconnection.
Yeah.
Yeah. On Tesla's Q1 disappointing earnings call, Elon Musk said the company was what or where?
Oh, what? What or where? He said on the last earnings call, he
said they were what?
between 2 waves of demand, but that's Okay.
I'll give it to you.
Between two waves of demand.
Between two waves, yes.
I remember because I was thinking it was like between two ferns, but for EV sales.
Tesla stock experienced a boost last week when Elon announced that the company would focus on delivering what as soon as late this year?
A cheaper EV model.
Last week, Hitachi Energy announced plans to invest $1.5 billion in increased manufacturing capacity for what?
Transformers.
Correct. The goal is to shrink the lead time for transformers down to 2 years, an average of 2 years. Okay, final question. After getting pushback from industry, when the Securities and Exchange Commission announced its new climate disclosure rule last month, it left out what key provision?
Scope 3. Cassie agrees.
Correct. Very good. That was excellent. This is Emissions Impossible. Let's give it up for our panelists, Shayle Kann, Cassie Bowe, Carly Anderson, and Matt Eggers. So a little addendum here, because of time and a little scoring error on my part in real time, we didn't actually declare a winner, but Shayle and Cassie did end up squeaking by in that lightning round. As a very public podcaster who talks about all these trends, I don't think Shayle would live with himself if he lost. A big thank you to Prelude Ventures for hosting us at the event. Prelude is an investor in Latitude Media. If you found yourself not knowing the answers to these questions, or if you want to go deeper, we're covering them all at Latitude Media. A big thanks to Catalyst producer Daniel Waldorf for helping with research and questions. And I'm Stephen Lacey. Thanks so much for listening.